Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar on behalf of the International Services and Engagement Office. Um, we're very excited to welcome you. We're excited. Thank you for joining us and congratulations on your admission to UC San Diego. Today's topic is on undergraduate student housing. My name is Marie Monlapaz Rivera. I'm the Assistant Director for International Student Services here at the International Services and Engagement Office. And I'm excited to have our campus partners join us today to talk about undergraduate student housing options. So I will pass it along to my colleague, Maddie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maddie Hodge. I work with the Housing Administrative Services team on campus. I'm going to be talking about your on-campus housing options, and I'll pass it to my colleague Pam from Dining to introduce herself.
Thanks. Sorry about that. Hi, everybody. My name is Pam Kramer. I'm the dining engagement coordinator here for residential dining, and I'll be talking to you about your dining plan and dining options while living here on campus.
Unfortunately, I don't believe our colleagues are able to join us this morning from our Basic Needs Hub for off-campus housing options. We will provide the slides and information once we post them to our website. So we'll have that information readily available. Unfortunately, we do not have colleagues from that unit today, but we will provide the information for undergraduate student housing options and be able to answer your questions the end of the webinar. Next slide, please. Yes. So today's agenda is on first steps checklist, some on-campus housing options. We'll skip the off-campus housing options, additional housing resources, and upcoming webinars and additional resources. So before we begin, note that you are in listen-only mode. You can hear us, but we can't hear you. You can ask questions in the Q&A feature that we have, and also contact us at icontact.ucsd.edu. We're recording this webinar, so you'll be able to review the slides and the webinar video, and it takes us about a week or two or so to get the information on our website at inewstudentwebinars.ucsd.edu. This is the control panel. This is where you can submit your questions to us. It will be routed to the panelists, and then we'll be able to answer your questions. First, let's go over a brief introduction of ISEO, or the International Services Engagement Office. We're here to support you throughout your time at UC San Diego. What we do, our team of expert staff supports and guides international students and scholars with their academic and personal goals and your successful transition to campus and student life and meaningful engagement with the university and local community. So ISEO offers a number of different services, including pre-arrival support and orientation, such as the webinar you're attending today. We are also the office on campus that will support you in maintaining your status as an international student. To do so, we offer virtual and in-person advising. We process immigration documents and a number of other services. In addition to that, we also offer a number of programs and events to cultivate a globally engaged community here at UC San Diego. Our vision is to foster an inclusive and globally engaged university where all members of the international community have equitable opportunities to achieve their academic, personal, and professional goals, to cultivate a culture of global citizenship. So now let's talk about the populations we serve. We are fortunate enough to have a very robust international community here at UC San Diego. We support over 10,000 international students, including both enrolled students as well as students who are here working after graduation. We also have over 2,000 international faculty and scholars who work here or conduct research at UC San Diego. And with these international students and scholars, we support over 1,000 international family members who are there to accompany our scholars and our students. To do this work, we work collaboratively across the campus with different number of partners to support our service population of just under 14,000. So we serve the entire campus, and we can't do this work alone. We have experts in different areas, and ISEO and UC San Diego is here to support you in your journey. We are number 8 as a leading institution for hosting international faculty and scholars, and number 15 for hosting international students. So who are our students and who we serve? And we're excited that you'll be joining our international student community here shortly. So now we'll take a moment to focus specifically on our international students. As you can see here, we have over 8,000 currently enrolled international students, with a pretty even split of around 4,000 undergraduate and graduate students, respectively. You can see the most popular academic departments as well as places of origin. However, we have students coming from over 100 different countries, so you're joining a robust international community here at UC San Diego. So on behalf of the International Services Engagement Office, welcome. We recognize the journey that brought you here may not have been easy, and we applaud your courage and resilience. We are truly excited to have you join our UC San Diego community, and we look forward to the many ways you will enrich our campus and the opportunities we'll have to learn from one another. We look forward to supporting you in the months before you arrive and can't wait to meet you once you get here. So just a few first steps checklist. Make sure that you have accepted your offer admission. You'll log into your applicant portal and complete your enrollment checklist, including your offer admission, and complete the California residency for tuition purposes. So we can't wait to see you here at UC San Diego. This is where you can find the information if you've missed the previous webinars on how to request your I-20 or DS 2019, and you can go to inewstudent.ucsd.edu. I will pass it on to my colleagues to talk about on-campus housing options.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maddie Hodge. Like I said earlier, I work with the Housing Administrative Services team with HDH, so that's the on-campus housing. I'm going to be discussing your on-campus housing options and let you know how you can apply for housing. I want to start by congratulating you all on your admission to UC San Diego. I hope you all are taking the time to cherish this huge milestone and appreciate all the hard work that it took you to get here. As a Trident alum, I can still remember the joy I felt receiving that admissions email. So just congratulations again, and thank you for attending, or if you're watching this at a later time, thank you for watching this. My colleague Pam will be discussing our dining options a little bit later, but I'll start with the housing. Next slide, please. So on camp here at UCSD, we have a 2-year housing guarantee for all of our newly admitted first-year students. So that will include first-year freshmen and our transfer students. You'll have 2 years of guaranteed housing. And what that means essentially is that as long as you live on campus your first year, then you're guaranteed housing for your second year. We also have housing options for your third and fourth year if you're still interested in living on campus, but your first 2 years will be guaranteed. And in order to maintain your housing guarantee, you do need to follow the criteria listed on the slide, which includes living on campus your first year. So you have to live on campus all year long. If you leave to study abroad, that's different, but that you can reach out to us for questions about that. You also must meet all of your housing deadlines. So your deadlines to apply for housing, to sign your contract, all of those deadlines must be met. Otherwise, your guarantee will be forfeited. You also must be enrolled full time each quarter that you're living on campus. That's part of our eligibility requirements. And then if you cancel or terminate your housing contract at any time, then you also forfeit your housing guarantee. But like I said, as long as you meet that criteria, you will have guaranteed housing for your first 2 years. We like to say that when you live on campus, you receive more than just a room. So what that includes outside of your room is we have a flexible dining plan. So all students who live on campus will be able to choose a dining plan. We have multiple options, and that will give you access to all of our dining facilities on campus. I won't go into details there. Pam can go into that later. But some other things that we include here on campus housing is 24/7 maintenance and custodial teams. So if there's any issues, we have a fix-it hotline is what it's called, and our maintenance team can be dispatched to come help you out, or our custodial team. All of our housing communities, except for Pepper Canyon West, have weekly housekeeping services from our custodial teams. So that's another thing that's included with living on campus. As well, all of your utilities will be included, and that includes electricity, your internet. We have streaming cable TV through Spectrum U and wireless internet throughout campus for all our students, and that's included with your housing charges. We also have laundry facilities in each of our housing communities and multiple laundry facilities within each housing community, so you don't have to worry about finding a laundromat off campus. It'll just be accessible where you live, and you'll have access to all the university's recreation and workout facilities. So we have multiple gyms on campus. A lot of our housing communities, our newer ones, actually have gyms within the community, so you don't even have to walk that far to reach them. And all of our housing communities have different community spaces that can be reserved or just to hang out in with you and your friends. There's communal kitchens. And when you live on campus, you also have access to just everything else that campus has to offer. So it's right, everything's right at your doorstep. As well, if you are in need of any medical accommodations, we do have a dedicated team, the Office for Students with Disabilities, who manages all medical related accommodations for academics and for housing. So if there's any medical needs within your housing that you need, just reach out to the Office for Students with Disabilities. We also call it OSD, and they can assist you with receiving a medical accommodation for housing. So for housing, as I mentioned earlier, it's very important to meet all of your deadlines in order to receive your or maintain your housing guarantee. So this slide is very important. We also have the link. We also have these dates on our website. So you can go to our website to see these dates. It's called the Important Dates page. But essentially, to receive housing on campus, it is a two-step process. So the first step will be applying for housing. The application deadline to apply for housing is the same for all students. It's going to be June 7th. So to apply for housing, what you must do is you need to first accept your admission. And then after your admission is accepted, you'll be instructed to set up your Active Directory account and your student email address. Once you've completed all three of those steps of accepting your admission, setting up Active Directory, and your student email address, our team will email you the housing invitation, and that will give you a link to access the housing portal. The housing portal is where we do all of our on-campus housing stuff. You won't be able to access it until you receive the invitation link, and the invitation link will be emailed to both your personal email address and your student email address. Due to some delays within the university of setting up the tried-in student numbers, we anticipate sending out our first batch of application invitations starting April 21st. So for the time being, if you don't receive an invitation, don't worry, we'll be sending those out starting April 21st. And again, you have until June 7th to apply. So once you meet the June 7th deadline, we will email you the information on how to complete your housing contract. And the housing contract is the second step of the process. So those emails will go out June 16th, and you will have until June 29th to complete your housing contract. And in order to complete your housing contract, you must sign it, and you also must pay the $450 housing prepayment. And at that time, you'll also be able to select a dining plan. So the housing contract is only going to be emailed to your student email address. So it's really important that after you apply, that you regularly check your UCSD student email address regularly. We send a lot of reminders, but after the application, all information will be sent just to your student email address. We also have this information on the website, so you can also read through it there. So the housing contract, that's the second step, and the due date is June 29th. Again, That deadline is really important because if you miss that deadline, you will forfeit your housing guarantee. And at that point, you'll have to apply for housing through the housing wait list. And then after you complete your housing contract, there are a few more optional deadlines, but they're still very important. So the first one is after you complete the contract, you'll have access to setting your preferences for your room, your facility, and your roommates. So that's going to be called the personal history form, and that will be due by July 14th. After July 14th, your answers are going to be locked in, and that form is going to be how our team assigns students to a space. So you'll be able to put in any roommate request. If you don't want to request a roommate or if you don't know someone, you can put your preferences for a roommate, and our team will work to match you as closely as possible to someone who has the same matching preferences. And you can also put a preference for your room type. The room types we have are singles, doubles, triples, and so that just corresponds with how many people are in the room. If you do receive a single room, then you will not be able to choose a roommate. And it's also important to know that you can only room with students who are in the same college of registration as you. Or if you're a transfer student, they have to be a transfer student as well. And they also have to be another incoming student. So if you're from one college and you have a friend in another college and you're both first year students, you won't be able to room together. You can only room together if you are in the same college of registration or if you're both incoming transfer students. Another optional deadline for you will be to apply for the Living and Learning Communities International House or iHouse or Gender Inclusive Housing. And that deadline is July 1st, 2026. So those are optional. These are communities on campus where you apply and you'd be living with people who also want to live within those communities. International House, I'll just mention it's not required for international students to live there. You would have to apply for it. So if you don't get in, then you can't apply for then you can't live there. If you are an international student in the ERC college, you're not automatically going to go to International House. Again, you have to apply for it and you have to be accepted in order to get there. And it is not required, it's completely optional to live in any of those communities. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have the OSD team who does medical related housing accommodations. And the priority deadline is July 6th. And if you miss that deadline, that's okay. You can still receive a medical accommodation, but at that point, you may have to wait for a housing option that meets your medical needs to open up in order to live there right away, but we'll still work with you in the OSD office with your accommodation. I mentioned earlier that you'll be choosing your dining plan when you sign your housing contract. We have multiple dining plans, and you'll have an optional that you have option to change your dining plan starting in September, and you'll have until October 1st to change your dining plan. So that's a couple weeks after the quarter starts, and that just gives you time to check out our dining facilities, see how much you're spending, and changing it if you wish. So, lastly, as I mentioned before, our housing assignments, they're all based on your college of registration, or if you're a transfer student, if you're a transfer student, you'll be housed in our transfer upper division housing communities. All of our facilities have a mix of residence halls and apartments. They're all suite styles, where it's a suite with multiple bedrooms. The only difference between a residence hall and an apartment is that an apartment has a kitchen. In the upper division housing, it is primarily apartments, but there are some communities that have residential or resident halls. So if you're a transfer student, you still might be placed in a resident hall. I also mentioned that we have multiple room types. So there's single rooms, double rooms, triple rooms, and mini double rooms. And that those room types will they impact how many people are in a room, and it can also impact your housing cost. So we have on our website, you can find our housing rates and our services, but your housing rates will depend on a few factors. So first, it'll depend on the room that you're in. And then it'll depend on which facility you're in. So if you're in an apartment or a residence hall, that will change your housing rate. And then what type of room you're in will change your housing rate. And then lastly, it will depend on your dining plan. So we have three different dining plans that will be outlined a little later. And your housing rates combine all three of those factors to give you the rate. So you can look at that on our website. Our housing rates are charged quarterly. So we split the total amount of housing and dining into three. So we charge each of the quarters. And then you will find out your student room assignment in late August. So you'll receive an email with your room assignment, your suite mate information, and you'll also be able to choose your move-in time and date in late August when you receive that email. All right. And I'd like to pass it over to Pam from our dining team to talk about our dining options.
Thank you, Maddie. I'm here to tell you a little bit more about dining and your dining plan. Next slide, please. As Maddie mentioned, your dining plan will be part of your housing contract, so you'd make payments along with your housing. You are able to pay monthly, quarterly, or in a lump sum, but the plans that you're seeing here, that is for the entire academic year. All of your dining plan will be linked to your campus ID card. You will get your full dining plan as soon as you hit campus. As soon as you move in, you get the full plan. If you choose the Triton Gold, that would be $8,200 that are on your student ID to use for dining. Each purchase is automatically deducted from your account balance, so it works just like a debit card. You will have no daily limit, no expiring swipes, and you'll have the freedom to budget as you want. So our locations work just like a restaurant or market outside in the real world. You walk in, you purchase what you want, and that's what you're charged for. There's no fee to walk through the door. There's no limited amount of swipes you can do a week. You have that money and you can spend it as you see fit. The three plans you see, you'll have the Triton Blue, or the Triton Gold. As I mentioned, this would be the $5,350 versus $6,600 or $8,200. All of the dining plans come with an option of come with dining dollars and Triton cash. So the bulk of your dining plan would be in dining dollars, and the dining dollars work at the residential dining locations and markets that are located all over campus. But then we also have a lot of variety on campus and other restaurants. Like over at Price Center, there's a food court that would have like Burger King, Starbucks, Taco Bell, items like that. And so those would be the Triton Cash items. So you would use your Triton Cash at locations like the franchise restaurants I mentioned. So the main part of your dining plan would be dining dollars, and the rest would be Triton Cash, would be kind of like a flex spend. So if you're out and about on campus and you see a restaurant you want to try out, you can always use your Triton Cash. You would also use your Triton Cash for laundry, and you can also use it at the bookstore. So it gives you a lot of options. The plan you choose really depends on you. If you are someone who's going to be here 7 days a week, eat all of your meals on campus, you're an athlete or a bigger eater, you might want to go with the largest plan. If you're somebody is living off campus, we have a commuter plan. So it really just depends on what your eating habits are and if you're going to be eating all your meals on campus. As Maddie mentioned, you do have a grace period when you first get to campus to try out the different locations and to see which plan you think will work best for you. And you do need to make any changes to your dining plan by October 1st, because after that date, it locks in and there are no more changes allowed. So it's more than just a dining plan. There's a lot of things that come along with what you get with your dining. As I mentioned, we have convenient locations. Our locations are all over campus. A lot of ours are right in the residential areas. So you can roll out of bed, walk out your door, and you're right there at one of our restaurants or markets. We also have stuff in the center of campus. We have a market over at Price Center and a coffee house and a little grocery store, or a little market area in Geisel Library. So we're all over. We also offer convenient hours. We're open 7 days a week. We have some locations open to as late as 2 a.m. A lot of our locations open at 7 a.m. Monday through Friday. So you'll have a wide range of locations to choose from and hours. Our dining program also offers a lot of special events, promotions, and contests. So we do different events at our restaurants. We'll do Mardi Gras, we'll do Lunar New Year. We have a big Harry Potter day, a lot of fun events and cultural activities. And we also do cooking demonstrations at our food lab we have over at 64 Degrees at Rebel College. So if there's an item that you're always wanting to learn how to make, this photo here is from a lumpia making demo that we did with one of our chefs, and they're a lot of fun. We also bring in vendors to do sampling and have a lot of little activities throughout the year. We also have our own mobile ordering system. So you would be able to place your order for your food while you're in class, as you're bopping around, and then we would send you a text message when your order is ready for pickup. So it's very convenient. We also do offer an allergen program. Along with our allergen program, we have two registered dietitians on staff. They are available to meet with any of our students. They're a great resource, and they also run our allergen program. So if you are a student coming to campus with a medically necessitated diet or allergy, you would want to go ahead and register with Office of Students with Disabilities. Once you are registered with OSD, then you'd get a meeting with one of our registered dietitians, and they would set you up in the allergen program. The way it works is we have allergen safe zones and multiple locations across campus where the meals are prepared in a separate area. They have their own equipment. Only certain chefs that have gone through a certain amount of training are able to prepare these meals. You would pre-order. There'll be a separate ordering app that you can use to pre-order your food. You'll have a special menu that you're ordering off of that is free of all the top allergens, and it's also tailored to your specific allergies. So the RDs would work with you on creating the menu, and you would order off that. The food is then created in the safe zone, and the chef would hand it off to you, and they would go over what was prepared and just double check and make sure that everything is good. If you are somebody who has an allergy and you're able to self-regulate and are able to go out into our locations, we do have allergen icons on all of our menu boards. They're also on our mobile ordering app, on our website. We have nutritional information, and all of our recipe and ingredient lists are there. So you're able to double check. But we do ask, if you are someone who is able to self-regulate with your allergy, that you still register with OSD, just so your information is there and the resources are there for you if you need them. So it's a great program. We have about 90 students currently enrolled in the allergen program that are working very closely with the RDs. So as I mentioned, we have lots of convenient locations all over campus. There are 11 different of the residential dining locations. We have each college and each restaurants has different food. So it'll be a different item. What you'll see at Revelle College is completely different than what you see at Marshall or Ocean View or Marshall or Muir College or any of the others. What we do recommend is get out and explore all of them. You don't want to eat at just your own college. You'll have a lot of your meals there because it's so convenient, but you want to get out and explore all that dining has to offer. We have a GLOT certified kosher restaurant over called Spice. We also have one of the largest halal certified restaurants in the country at a university. We offer vegetarian and vegan options at all of our locations and markets. We have food trucks. We're there at concessions. So we have a wide variety to choose from. And as I said, we have global and diverse cuisines. We have everything from a barbecue house called Rooftop to poke stations to sushi houses. There's a huge variety of food on campus for you to choose from. We also have 6 little market locations across campus. All of our markets have a coffee house, so we have baristas and coffee drinks because you need that caffeine. 5 of our market locations are currently have been switched over to the Amazon Just Walk Out technology. The campus was getting so busy and the markets are so popular with students that we were facing these really long lines at the checkout. So we decided to try something new and bring the Just Walk Out technology to a college campus. It ended up that 3 of our locations are the busiest Amazon Just Walk Out locations in the country. They are very popular with students, and it is so convenient. You would swipe and get a QR code on your way in. You go through a turnstile, and then you just grab what you want off the shelves, walk out, and you're charged afterwards. Our markets have a wide variety of produce, grocery items, grab and grow. We have our own line of called Triton on the Go of salads and sandwiches and like parfaits and different items that we prepare on campus and sell. If you're just running through and you want to grab a quick sandwich, it's also a great resource, like for students that are going through Ramadan, observing Ramadan. We have Ramadan options. We have a huge variety at the markets. There's also shampoo and conditioner and soap. And like I said, they're open late nights. So some of the markets are open till as late as 2 a.m. So it's a very convenient option and very, very popular with the students. So dining is also the largest employer of students on campus. We currently employ about 900 students across all of our locations. It is a really great job for someone coming to campus and finding their way. It's a great way to make friends. We offer a flexible schedule. So if you are working for us, you would turn in your class schedule and we would design your schedule around your classes. So we know you're here to be a student first. Students working for us can only work up to 19 hours a week. We ask for a minimum of 9 because we want to make sure you have time for your studies. And every student working for us would get a free shift meal. So a lot of times you would be on campus all day, going to classes. You would come in, drop off your backpack in the locker room, go work your shift, go get your free meal, and you're back out to classes. And as I said, it's a great way to make friends. And any skills that you learn working through dining are added on your co-curricular record. We do hire international students all the time. We can help with you getting any kind of permits or anything you need for working here. So we're a great resource, and hopefully we'll see you working at one of our locations. So here's our contact information. If you have any additional questions, you can reach out to the Housing Administrative Services Office, or you can reach out to Dining over at Dining Engagement at UCSD. We're looking forward to seeing you on campus, and you can email us with any questions. We're happy to help and assist in any way.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, we are not able to have our off-campus housing colleagues share some information today, but we will have the slides available and information provided after the webinar. So just want to make sure that you know that there are off-campus housing options available to you. You can review this information online. So tips for housing international students. So now we'll just go over some other housing options for international students. So you can go on to ISEO's housing website and find more information here on our website. So we do have a basic needs hub for transitional housing, and also there's Hostel World for a list of hostels in San Diego. Note that these are not affiliated with UC San Diego. It might be a great place for you for transitional housing. And then you can also try Airbnb or Verbo, and these are helpful transitional places to stay until you find an apartment. Other search ideas, you can go to Corporate Housing San Diego or in the San Diego region and look for transitional housing options geared towards traveling professionals. There may be apartments that are for short term and may be furnished. And then I want to highlight this wonderful program, the Solana Beach Family Host program that we have. If you're coming to San Diego from abroad and wondering who will pick you up at the San Diego airport, how you adjust to the shock of a new country, will you be able to meet regular Americans and understand their culture, how you'll get established and prepared for UC San Diego. This is a great way to get connected with a family here in the area, and there's no cost, and they can help you pick you up at the airport. And it's a place to stay for a few days before you arrive and you get settled into your permanent housing. So we have also the basic needs commuter resources. Commuters are students who are living off campus. Okay, and then you can find information with transportation on how to access these different resources. We want you to be aware of housing scams. Unfortunately, sometimes our internationals have been subject to these scams, so we want to make sure that you visit ISEO's isafety.ucsd.edu webpage and familiarize yourself with these resources. It's really important. There is something called our student legal services here on campus, and they have resources for you. Know your responsibilities as a tenant and your rights. So now we'll talk about different ways to get engaged, get involved here at UC San Diego. Note that we do have an iNew Students newsletter. You'll be added to this once you get registered and have your UC San Diego email. Stay tuned for this information for updates on these webinars and different resources as you prepare to come to UC San Diego. Also, we have our welcome guide. We've created a welcome guide filled with helpful checklists and interactive links, what to do before you start your classes, next steps to take before preparing for your arrival, and next steps to take upon your arrival. You can find this information on our guides. And then our Surf Check guide about coming to San Diego. It was created for students by students, covering the most frequently asked questions for international students. It covers topics like housing, arranging transportation from the airport to campus, and setting up a phone account and bank account, and so much more. So you can find that at our ISEO welcome guides. So now I want to highlight our Global Ambassador or GAP program. It's a summer-long peer mentoring program designed to assist incoming international undergraduate students with acclimating to a new environment and making a smooth transition into university life at UC San Diego. The program pairs incoming undergraduate students with current student mentors in order to encourage cross-cultural exchange and create a positive transition and adjustment process for incoming students. Many of our students have said that it is one of the most helpful things in supporting their transition to UC San Diego. So you can find more information on our website here at gap.ucsd.edu. So here you can go to iprograms.ucsd.edu. Our signature programs or iprograms are typically held monthly and they're reoccurring events that offer touch points for our international community to connect, engage with one another. If you're curious to learn more about these programs, you can go to iprograms.ucsd.edu. Our iEvents calendar is a live calendar that's filled with events not only offered by our office, ISEO, but other offices and student groups on campus. These events either target an international audience or have a global engagement theme. Many of our students will bookmark ievents.ucsd.edu and to see what they might want to do for the upcoming week or weekend. So you can follow us on Instagram if you're curious about what life looks like as an international student at UC San Diego. Follow us here where we offer a snapshot into the daily lives of our students. And additional resources, we'll just go over some deadlines. How to request your I-20 or DS 2019. Once you have accepted your offer admission, have your Active Directory set up, and your UC San Diego email, and once the Triton student system is all connected, you'll be able to request your I-20 or DS 2019 with ISEO. And then housing information, Maddie provided that information of how you can request your housing. The deadline in June is for all first and transfer students. In July, you will have deadlines to submit your immunization requirements and your OPHD training. And then September, you'll pay your tuition, move in, check in, and attend our international student orientation. So our upcoming pre-arrival webinars, we have one next week on student health insurance and immunization requirements. April 16th, finances and student accounts. April 21st, student life and getting involved. And April 23rd, campus safety. April 28th, getting set up in the US for Surf Check Live, and then May 5th, if you are a student who's currently here studying in the US and wanting to transfer your F1 CVS record to us. Please note all these webinars are recorded and posted at inewstudents.webinars.ucsd.edu. This is our information. I want to thank our campus partners for joining us this morning. Now we'll open it up. I see we've had one question in the Q&A. If you'd like to type in your questions for us for on-campus housing or your immigration documents, feel free to type in the chat. Any questions? I'm very grateful for our housing and dining and hospitality colleagues for joining us this morning and providing all the helpful information and resources. The question is, when should emails regarding the UCSD email should arrive? Hopefully within the next week or two. Again, the Triton student services numbers are being set up, and so you'll wait till you get that information hopefully they are working on that and it should be hopefully in the next week or so. Any other questions? I also want to check with our HDH colleagues if there's anything else you'd like to highlight or important reminders that you'd like to share with our attendees today.
I guess right before we go, just remember the deadlines. We have it on our website. Those deadlines are really important. If they are missed, then you forfeit your housing guarantee for living on campus. So again, because of the delays on campus, we're hoping to send out our invitations for applying for housing starting April 21st, and you will have until June 7th. And then after June 7th, once you apply, we'll email those contracts on June 16th, and you'll have until June 29th to complete the contracting process. If you have any issues at all while completing the contracting process, please reach out to us. We're happy to help. We're going to be on campus. We have phones, so you can reach out to us. And I guess lastly, just check your UCSD student email like regularly, if not daily, because we'll be emailing reminders throughout this entire process to students once you get your email address.
So I was just gonna add that it's a great time to like check out our website and get more information, and you can go through and look at menus, check out all the different restaurants, and then it'd be great to follow us on social media. If you follow us on Instagram, it's UCSD Housing and Dining or Housing Dining. You get to kind of see what's going on campus, get a feel, and start to explore what you have to look forward to. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Maddie and Pam. We really appreciate your partnership and you sharing these great resources with our students. Thank you again to our attendees for joining us today for undergraduate housing options, and we hope to see you at the next webinars in the future. We hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.